CKS learning series point of view, 7th topic is Automount service account token. I am in a training.linuxfoundation.org, which is CKS syllabus. If you look at the cluster hardening and exercise caution using a service accounts, example, disable default, minimize permissions on newly created one. So what exactly it means? So here basically they are talking about, one is the service accounts, second is disable default, and other one is whatever the service account you create, minimize the permissions. That's what it's saying. So let's understand what exactly in a theory first. So for first, what you will do is you will create a one YAML file which has a deployment. Say I have a 50 pods, maybe deployments, pod creation, all these things are there. So let's assume only one pod and one deployment is there in this YAML file. So I will be running as a user. I will just connect to the cluster and I will run, right? So whenever I run, first what happens is it will take a default service account. Say I am running this deployment in a, say, one of the namespace called a dev namespace. Let's consider. So in the dev namespace, it will pick up the default service account, and first authentication phase will happen. Means authentication against a home, authentication against API server, right, of this user, whether this user is a legitimate or not. Second, authorization, this user is basically have a rights to deploy or not. And third one is admission control, and fourth is the etcd. So basically 1 2 3 4, these 4 steps will happen by using this service account by calling this API call. How it is, let's see in the here. I am in a 2-node Kubernetes cluster, kubectl get namespace. I have a default namespace. These are the 5 namespace. So what I will do is kubectl create namespace. I wanted to create a dev namespace. I just created dev namespace. Kubectl get namespace. Dev namespace is just now created 3 seconds back, right? Now kubectl get service accounts in dev namespace default, right? So here, yes, let's wait one more. Kubectl get secrets -n dev namespace. Oh, sorry, my bad, typo. CEC secrets, right? See, I created a namespace called a dev, and automatically there is a default service account is created and a default secret token also created, which is along with it, right? Just note this point. Then second is, say, kubectl run web pod in the dev namespace, which is just now I created, right? Which is now it's created, right? So now I will just clear the screen. Kubectl get pod, I wanted to know in a dev namespace, right? Now it's running. Kubectl get pod in the dev namespace -web -o YAML. If you look at here, right, this is the kubectl get pod, right, -o YAML. Now pod is created, which is a name equal to web and dev, right? Only I just specify image, I want a nginx and namespace, name, image name and namespace. Only 3 parameter are given: name, namespace, image name. Then automatically all other things are by default applied by the Kubernetes. So if you look at, observe here, service account, right? Service account is a default, service account token name is default. So this default service account is this guy. And also if you notice volume mount, this volume mount is basically this secret, whatever the default service account specific, this service account specific secret is this is a token. This token is mounted as a one of the volume mount, so that whenever you go inside the pod you can access this, right? Say for example kubectl execute interactive mode web pod in the dev namespace hyphen shell, right? So here ls, I do this. See, if I do ls ca.crt namespace token, right? If I do the cat slash token, see, this is a token which is there in the web pod. So now I will exit from the pod and let's try to see the what is this token, right? This secret, right, in the dev namespace. So kubectl get secret in the dev namespace. What is the token name? Sorry, secret name, this one, right? Sorry. Now describe token, describe secret, right? See, the same token which is mounted, right? I did not do anything, but it's by default it's mounted by the Kubernetes system, right? So what exactly the basically this topic is saying, disable default. So means as I am a hacker, I can go inside my pod and I can grab the token and I can do anything. So this token is for what purpose it will use? This token can be used to connect to the API server, right? That's what so I have created a pod, and from that pod whatever the default service account secret is mounted, and that token I taken and I can connect to the API server and I can do any hacking. So that's was we need to work on it. So let's go into the theory. So default service account. So basically whenever you create a namespace, a default service account is created and along with its secret also will be created. So as we see here, I created a namespace dev, automatically service account created and automatically one secret is created, right? That's what the here. Second is when you create a pod, default service account will be mapped. Yes, of course, right? That is hence proved, because I created a pod that's a web in the dev namespace and automatically a default service account is mounted as a secret, right? So right, and secret will be mounted. Yes, that's correct. Now this is a Kubernetes cluster and this is a dev namespace, just now we see, and I created a default it's automatically created a default service account and as well as a default secret, right? And I created a pod one which is called a web, then automatically this default service account is mapped and as well as it's a service account also mapped, correct? So this is so here for the topic point of view we need to disable the secret mounting. That's what here we need to do. So what exactly? So here if you observe this mount path, right? Kube API access, right? If you look at here, right? Value mount, volumes, Kube API access. In order to access a Kube API by using a service account token, which service account token? This default service account token. This is the volume mount. We have already verified the token already, right? So here automatically mounted, so we need to avoid that. That's what the security practice we are going to do here in this session. Here now whenever you are creating a service account, we can set Automount service account token to set to false, means by default is set to true. That's what this was happened. But whenever if you set to this guy Automount service account token equal to false, then service account won't be mounted, secret won't be mounted. But what you will do, pod level you need to map the service account to the one we created. So that means here when I am creating the pod, right, I will specify for my pod I don't want the default service account. I wanted to use a new service account which I am going to create. But one thing is service account level you can disable, but pod level you can enable. So this is given by the official documentation. So if you look at the CKS preparation guide and go to the second cluster hardening, then this is the, so there is a link documentation, and just you open this, right? Default service account, Automount service account to true, false. Let's look at that. So here you will be creating a service account like this, but you will be setting to the false. You will be creating a new service account, right? And what happens when you set this? Whenever you create a dev namespace and whenever you create a web pod, only service account will be mapped. This secret won't be mounted. That's what we are going to see. So what we will do here is basically we will create one service account with this details, and we will create a pod, but in the pod level I will specify the service account to use. But this overriding is our own choice. I don't want to override now. So here I wanted to, what I will do is I will go to the new tab, better, right, and say kubectl create service account. What is the service account name we wanted to create? test-svc, right? Which is, these instructions are all there here as well in this documentation, test-svc. So basically not demo svc, test-svc in the dev namespace, right? And I wanted to hyphen dry run equal to client -o YAML and svc.yaml, right? So now vi svc.yaml, this is a YAML file which is automatically created. So what I will do is here I will take this default service account I'm making as a false, right? So now kubectl apply -f svc.yaml. Now svc applied. Now kubectl get service accounts in the dev namespace. One is a default service account and other one is a test svc, which is we just now we created, right? In the, so now I will kubectl get secrets in dev namespace. I just wanted to see, I am curious. Test svc token is also created, right? And now what I will do is kubectl, now I will create a pod by using this newly created service account, right? So what I will do is kubectl run web2 pod, which is nginx image, and in dev namespace hyphen dry run equal to client, right, -o in the YAML format redirect to web.web2.yaml, right? Now vi web2.yaml, right? This is my YAML. Only I need to change this set service account name equal to test svc, which is there in the same in the documentation as well. So service account colon equal to the actual name under the spec, not under spec but equal to the containers, so spec level. So here sorry, so here service account name. What is the service account name? Just now we created test-svc, right? So here test-svc, that's it. I won't do anything else, right? Now kubectl apply -f web2.yaml, right? Now web2 pod is created, where it's created in the dev namespace. Now clear kubectl get pod -n dev namespace. Now web2 pod is getting created. So let's wait for a minute. Yes, created. Now kubectl get pod -n dev namespace, which is web2 -o yaml. Now we'll see. So here this is a web2, right? I created a web2 in the dev namespace, yes, correct, and I given an image as nginx. And one thing what I did is I have set service account as a test svc, which is as mentioned like a here, that's it. And I haven't specified this because already service account level it is there already, right? So here there is no auto mount here, right? There is no mounting. Whereas if you go to the previous tab, the old pod, which is a web pod, right? This is a web pod where volume mount is there. Default service account is default. Under the volumes there is a clearly is mentioned service account token. But if you go to the another tab which where web2 is running, right, here service account is a test service account, which is my own service account, right? And there is no mounting, so that means my whatever the secret which is secured now. So that's what this topic. But before assigning a service account, we need to make sure minimize the permissions on a newly created. Minimize the permission. How you minimize the permission? This service account you will be creating a role, and you will be creating a role binding. So in order to create a role, again RBAC is coming to the picture, right? I have created a video on the RBAC, please go and look at. Say for example, if I wanted to do that same thing for me, this is a test svc, right? So I am creating a role called test role in the dev namespace, right? And role binding, this is role binding, right? And test svc, and yeah, everything is correct. This is a role binding, right? And what is the role? Pod deployment services config map, no access to secret. So this way you can give a permission. So here they are talking the permissions as minimize the permission. How you minimize the permissions? Permissions to whom? This guy. So first create a person which is called service account, then create a role with the whatever the required. For my dev namespace, I want a very minimal permission, right? Developer need to get, list, watch, describe, that's it. Then developer no need to bother about the service secrets. So I created a simple role. And then role binding. Role binding with what? Role binding is creating in the dev namespace, and which is basically mapping with the test role and as well as the service account, which is this guy. Then creating a pod with this service account. So this pod has exactly these access rights. So basically the main idea is here the RBAC and the defaults combination. I hope you get an idea of what exactly it means. So thank you. Let me know your comments, your feedback. Thank you. Bye bye.